game and future Hall of Famer probably. Very happy for him, and he's having a big year, man. He's got a great woman that he got engaged with, and got a long-term extension that pays him the way he deserves to be paid. He's having a hell of a year. He's a special player. He's a great locker room guy, and yeah, pretty happy for him.
Mike Spofford.
Hey, Aaron, can you just talk about what the conditions were like out there today and just how challenging it was in this kind of weather?
Yeah, Mike, not great conditions. Luckily, there wasn't a lot of precipitation, really not much of any. But the wind was significant, as it was a couple weeks ago against Minnesota. Puts definitely a stress on throws. And the young kid over there felt the same thing. There were throws you felt really good about that didn't turn out great. Throws you maybe didn't feel great about that turned out pretty good. A little bit of a guessing game at times. The first third down, I felt I got outside the pocket there. Bobby turned his route up. Felt really good about the throw, and it went about 7 yards left of where I was thinking I was going to end up. So that's just the way it goes sometimes at Lambeau. Again, the swirling effect was definitely there. You're looking up the flags; they're kind of coming from the north, but the wind seemed to be kind of going all over the place. So, we made do with it. We threw the ball for a lot of yards, but definitely had some opportunities in the passing game that the wind affected some of the throws.
Pete Doherty.
Hey, Aaron, with Bakhtiari's deal done, and that's going to be a lot of money, how important is it for you in the offense to also get Aaron Jones back for next year, with considering the role he has in your offense?
Yeah, again, Pete, these are interesting conversations because there's going to be probably a significant drop in the salary cap based on the agreement that's in place with the PA. We put a kind of a floor at 175. And just guessing, we're probably going to be at that number for next year. So there's going to be some interesting gymnastics done with some of the salary cap, I'm sure, for certain players. He's a talented guy, and he does so much for our offense. But I'm sure there's going to be some tough decisions when it comes to certain guys.
Jason Wilde.
Hey, Aaron. What'd you tell the Smiths when he came out of the field before that last defensive play there? And then also, the last time we did this with you after a home game was after Minnesota, and you said you guys didn't handle the cold, the wind, or your energy very well. Was that the case again today, or how do you explain the tough time you had with a Jacksonville team that's got a tough go so far?
Yeah, I was just talking to Tom before we came in here and reminiscing about how it's kind of like the game in 12, where we had to have a late field goal to put us up 2 scores in that one against a team that I believe had 1 win that day, maybe 2. Over the years, they've been a tough team for us. We played them 4 times now during my 16 or my 13 years starting. In 08, they beat us in a really tight game. We beat them in a close game in 12, beat them in a close game in 16, and beat them here in a close game. So I think it's more they have a lot of pride. They played tough. They got a couple of really good edge guys, good inside backers. They had a nice plan for us. The weather, I think, evened some things out a little bit, where because of the rain that we had, and the length of the grass and the wind, I think there was some evening out of some things. And then we played, uncharacteristic in a few areas. Obviously through an interception, Devontae fumbled. We gave up a 90-yard punt return for a touchdown. So there were some uncharacteristic things that happened. But I think the energy was really good today, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think that was more reminiscent of a game from last year where we were relying on them to come through in the clutch with some big stops. I was just talking with the Z and P about what the formation looked like from my perspective on 4th and whatever it was, 25, and just giving them a couple ideas to think about.
Brian Wood.
Hey, Aaron, as someone who was privy to some of those talks with Dave, when and how did you find out that something was imminent, and how do you celebrate social distance style?
Well, there's specific rules in place about the amount of players that are supposed to be congregating at certain times. I'm sure I'll get a chance to enjoy some vino, which is usually that's wine for the layperson. But he enjoys wine, and I'm sure I'll bring over a bottle at some point and enjoy it with him and his sweet lady. But I've been Dave and I are really close friends. I mean, I would say best friends. I'm not sure if he would, but so I've obviously it's been interesting to me to see where they're at, and he's been keeping me up to date as much as he feels comfortable. But I was excited for him last night when I heard that this was probably gonna go down.
Rob Domofsky.
Hey, Aaron, can you tell us what happened on the deep throw to Marquez? And is he becoming more than just a deep threat receiver as well?
I mean, I think it starts with the deep threat. I think we need to keep finding ways to get him other routes. You know, I think the growth we're going to see from him is where he becomes more than just a one-dimensional guy. But I will say there were a couple of plays that I really, really liked today from him. We ran a keeper, and he, caught it and ran through it and got about like 30 yards on the keeper, which was amazing. I just feel like he ran really tough with the ball on that play. We had a third down that was important for us in our second touchdown drive, where I had to move to the right, and he had a great scramble adjustment where it felt like there was a big flow to the right. He stopped, and I threw him the ball that was probably knuckling all over the place, and he made a nice body catch to keep things alive. And then, the little bubble out to the left, catching it and getting north and south right away. I thought those were really good examples of him just making plays when the opportunities were there. The deep ball was first a really nice protection pickup by Aaron Jones. And second, it was a weird coverage. They were bringing the safety to that side and kind of rolling the coverage behind it with like a 0.5 on that side, basically man-to-man on Bobby and Marquez. The wind was obviously strange, but I was feeling like if I threw it a little inside, the ball was definitely tailing to the right. So I just tried to put it up in the air and throw it a little bit inside, expecting the ball to kind of float to the right a little bit. And Marquez did all the separation at kind of the 20-yard mark, and then did a nice job catching it, switching field, and kind of using the ref to get in the end zone there.
Mark Daniels.
Aaron, the conditions today kind of begged for the running game. What was giving you the problems there to get any traction?
Well, I think this defense in general, Mark, is predicated on having an 8-man box, and it's in the mold of the Seattle defense that was basically created and run, in the early part of this decade and the end of the previous decade, where they want to have kind of 8 hats, gap control. They did a nice job. I mean, they got some stout guys inside. They got some long-armed edge setters on the edge. And we just didn't, I think, get as many holes opened at times as we needed to. Also, because the field was wet and it was windy, much like it is a lot of times in November and December football in Green Bay, we do see a little bit more single safety because the expectation is going to be harder to throw the ball. And, I felt like we threw the ball pretty well today, definitely from a yardage standpoint. The wind was, a challenge, but yeah, we got to run the ball better moving forward because it's a little tough on the edge guys being a little too one-dimensional.
MK Burgess.
Aaron, can you walk me through that touchdown pass to Devontae, and how is that just continuing to add to the career year that he's kind of having?
Well, first I want to talk about the one that didn't count because I'm assuming you're talking about the one that did count.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see if it was holding or not. It's always tough when you move to the right on the right tackle to engage and disengage. And, the defensive line has gotten good at making it look like holding if it might not actually be holding. But that was a hell of a route. I mean, he got to the top of that and made a stick, and I threw the ball in the air, and he made, that was just a really smooth, beautiful route and catch. The play that actually had a touchdown, first I'm going to talk about his toughness. I won't get into what he was dealing with, but the fact that he's out, and then I'm on the sidelines and I hear, hey, 17 said he wants to go back in. Look, you might think that's a normal thing in this game, and maybe it was 10 years ago, but you just see less and less of that happening. I think there's more of a, Doc doesn't think I can go here. Maybe I should sit out the rest of the game. But 17's built different. He always has been. And for him to get back out there, I asked him a couple times. I said, "You okay? You good?" And he just nodded that he was. So that route and that play that he scored on is really a play for Marquez. Sliding across the formation, they did a good job of kind of getting hands on him. Tay just slow played it on the backside. It wasn't an easy throw based on the wind, and I wasn't trying to put it like 10 feet up in the air for him to come down on his shoulder like that. But the dude is a special player. He's one of a kind, and he never ceases to grow my respect. And it's just another chapter for him today, dealing with what he was dealing with, to come back out there, catch a touchdown. That's what you want from your leaders.
We'll do two more, and Coach LaFleur is on his way to the podium. Tom Silverstein.
Aaron, you've got 4 more games at home before the regular season ends. What do you got to do to make it seem like there's some sort of home field advantage, both with weather conditions and just with no fans here?
Well, I see John Kuhn in the stands. I'd like to, get him going a little bit, whether or not he needs to take his shirt off and, get on the Jumbotron or something, get the wave going. I told Matt, I want to see roll out the barrel. I want the beer races. I want sign, everywhere a sign. I want YMCA. I want the favorites. I don't know why we're, shying away from some of those, but, hey, I'm just one man. That's what I want, Tim.
And last one, Tim Van Born.
And hard to follow that, Aaron. You get to 7 wins today, though, and already there are questions about conditions, as there always are when you play in November, December. How advantageous do you think home field football will be in January, given that's going on this year for the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Tim. Depends. Are we going to have fans or not? I think if, from what I've heard, even, planning for the Super Bowl, they're not expecting a lot of fans. So I would assume even under the best conditions in the city, in those cities, that, maybe 20, 30% is kind of the most that can be hoped for. I don't think that's going to make a huge difference. The difference, to me, that's always been the biggest difference is the conditions themselves. So obviously having a loud fan base is important, and feeling the energy, especially for the defensive players, is very important. But getting warmer weather or dome teams up here in